Stay tuned for sports.
Keeping Score with Jess and Dean, the Dream.
It is Sunday, September 17th. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
I can't complain. It was a busy week, but we're here. We're talking football. Week 2. I'm very excited about that. I don't know if you heard about this. I wanted to start the show with it. In Wisconsin, a bar said, listen, every time the Jets lose, you have to pay the tab. But if the Jets win, we'll pay the tab, right? It's because they hate Aaron Rodgers now because, of the whole thing. So this is what happened at the game last week.
And the mood has changed considerably. That is because the Jets just won the game on a long touchdown in overtime. You could take a look. This is the reaction from a bar where people are realizing the bar tabs they've been racking up all night, thinking, certainly with Rodgers hurt, the bar was going to be paying that tab. It is setting in. They are going to have to go to the bar and pay that tab. That's where we're at. This offer is going to be in effect for another 12 games this season. As long as the Jets and Packers are not playing at the same time, this Jets lose, you win promotion is in effect. Tonight, Bill and Natalie, the house won.
Wow. Can you imagine? So it's like you think Aaron, is down, which we're going to get into that because that was awful. And I think that ruins the whole season for the most part, just because you looked forward to seeing that. But, you see people in the background, these guys, with their hands on their head, and they're just, because they were just ripping out shots as soon as he got hurt in, the first 4 plays. Yeah. And people lost a lot of money that day in more ways than one. But maybe they had a good time. Maybe not. I think it's a very bold decision by the bar.
Yeah, and of course you said it's terrible for the league too. I mean, obviously it gives some teams hope. Of course, could be right here in Foxborough, but that's not the way you want it to go down. Especially after he comes out with the flag. You had hard knocks. You and I kind of warmed up to him, kind of feeling wow, tell you one thing, this team's ready to go. And obviously they proved it by still winning the game, and we will get into it, but that there's a lot of talent on that squad. They just need the right guy under center, and it's unfortunate it won't be him. Our thoughts and prayers do go out. Obviously it's not life and death here. He's okay.
Yeah,
it's a leg injury. It's not a head injury. Yeah, he's going to be okay, and hopefully he's going to play week 1 next year. That's his goal. But at 39 years old, that ACL, that torn Achilles, that's a tough one to come back from. He's not 29, he's 39.
I know. And did you see the slow-mo of when you actually see it rupture?
I didn't think much of it at the time. I kind of thought it was just he landed on him, then he got up, then he went back down.
I'm like, uh-oh. I'm like, there's no way that's happening.
But then he walked off, and I'm like, okay, maybe, it's just an ankle injury. They said he's questionable to return. That's what excited me, because I'm like, oh, questionable. He's not done.
Right.
And then, no.
You put the boot on, and you're like, bye-bye.
It was over.
Bye-bye. All right, well, I think we have so much to do. We actually have Nick from New England Soccer Weekly that's going to be joining us because the New England Revolution, I don't know what's going on because we're not very versed in soccer, but there's a lot of drama happening. Yeah. So we're going to have him join the show. We're going to cover, obviously, everything that's going on with the Red Sox, birthdays, shout-outs, and let's start with football. You ready?
I am.
I look at this game and say, this last year would have been Mac Jones' 3rd best game of the season. And if you thought this was a check mark against, you already assumed, without really any evidence in 2023, that he was going to be a much better quarterback. I hadn't seen that yet. I saw it Sunday for the most part. He needs to make these plays, though, obviously, if they want to ascend and if he wants to keep his job in the long term. The other part about Mac is he was so much better under pressure than what we saw a year ago when he has pee leaking down his leg at the first sign of a rusher coming in. He stood in and took major hits time and time again against the best pass rush in the NFL. That gives me hope, even if he didn't finish the game. This game was as close as you could get to a draw and still lose by 5. Their offense was better than the Eagles, the best offense in the NFC. They were more efficient. They stayed on schedule. They had a couple more explosive plays. And that's a team with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, and Jalen Hurts. The Patriots made the worst mistake, and that's what cost them. So when you have the whole balance, it was fine.
All right. I mean, like we said before, we don't want that to be like, hey, here's a star for losing kind of thing. But for them to stay in it the first game, it wasn't a blowout. I mean, I felt pretty good about it.
No, and of course at 16 donut early in the first quarter, you kind of thought it was time to warm the bus up already, and it could have went the other way. And maybe last year at this time a year ago, it would have been a 40 to nothing blowout. So obviously they showed a little fortitude, a little bit of a fight in the team to come back. I told you earlier, I've been saying all year, Mac's not going to be able to bring you back, and he didn't. But at least there was some hope. There was some good things that we saw. Kendrick Bourne did catch 2 touchdowns. Yep. That one was deflected. The one that went off his hand that was taken back for a a pick six. That hurt. It was just the Elliott, those 2 turnovers back to back.
Yep.
Before you knew it, it was 16-0. That's tough to come back against a team like Philly who really didn't play their best football. But I give the Patriots a lot of credit on defense. They did give Hurts a lot of different looks and make it difficult for him to do what he wanted to do.
And we're not going to talk too much about last week because we're moving on to Miami tonight at 8:20. But I do have some questions that maybe you could help me out. What was the deal with Bill going on fourth twice in the same drive, and one was 4th and 17 or something like that? And why didn't we kick it?
It was bizarre. Just like the week opening night with Kansas City and Detroit, you saw Andy Reid. He get a 5-yard penalty. He was going to go for it on 4th and 20. They get a penalty. It's 4th and 25. He still goes for it when they had 3 timeouts left. So, I mean, these coaches do things. They just feel like maybe they're not going to get the ball back. I believe that Belichick, a couple of questionable calls there and decisions to go for it. I believed on one, he felt like maybe, like, I didn't want to go long field goal. Well, I told you that's why you kept Chad Ryland and you traded Nick Falk for a bag of balls.
Right.
I think that the problem was, Jess, is that the way that game was going, I think there was that 2-point conversion where there was a penalty. Mac ran it in and it got called back. That hurt because that changed the whole landscape as far as score-wise. And I just believe they felt like they were just going to be trading threes and they needed 6. And I think he had to take the chance there. So he's saying 3 at this point, I'm only going to get so many more possessions. And let's face it, they got the ball with, a minute 57 left. It was in front of them. They only had a half a field to go.
Right.
And I know you texted me later and I told you, I said, at the end of the day, there's some talent on this team. There's some rookies that look like they may be players. But a kid like Keyshawn Butte, who came out of LSU, has got a lot of talent. But of course, you got to know where your puppies are. Okay, you're banking on a 6th-round pick to take you to move the chains and get you in the end zone. They could have won that game. They're down 25-20. There was a chance there.
So why are we banking on a 6th-round pick when we got Juju Smith-Schuster and he played less snaps?
He wasn't in there late. Whether it was a performance thing or whether it was an injury thing, it looks like he looked real slow out there. They're saying his knee could. The rumors that the adjective everyone's using, the knee could explode at any time. That's not a good thing to say about a guy that was your big free agent signing. And of course,
his heart could explode at any time.
And of course, Devontae Parker is supposed to be your number 1 guy. You just re-upped him. He's the guy that you would hope at least can go up and get the ball. Doesn't get a ton of separation, but he didn't play in week 1. Hopefully, he'll be back tonight versus his old team, Miami. But you're banking on it. Of course, Pop Douglas got a lot of reps. You saw some talent there. You saw something. There's definitely something going on. I like O'Brien's got more to work with. And I thought the offensive line that was patched together for this game did a pretty good job.
No, they actually really did.
But of course, now you don't know who's going to play from week to week. Trent Brown may not play tonight. You just don't know who you're going to get from game to game. I thought Mac did a good job. They kept him upright until that last drive where he took a sack. And I'm like, you can't take a sack there. When you're backed up now, it's 3rd and 12, you're hoping to get like a chunk of it back, maybe get 6 and then, maybe get 4th down and it's shorter. But, Butte just couldn't keep the puppies in bounds. And that was a tough one. And I knew it right away.
Yeah.
And give credit to the defensive back for Philadelphia because he caught the ball, got the 1 foot down, and he gave him a nice little push, and that's what good NFL cornerbacks do. He took advantage of a rookie who's a little bit green.
All right, and before we go into the preview of tonight's game against Miami, we do have to talk about Aaron Rodgers and him only playing 4 snaps. Are you ready to move on to that right now or no?
I am.
Okay.
All right, I'll deal with the quarterback real quick. Concerned with his Achilles. MRI is probably going to confirm what we think is already going to happen, so prayers tonight, but it's not good.
How do you process your emotions right now? Obviously a great win for you guys, but the Aaron injury.
That part sucks. I'm going to enjoy this win. Winning in the NFL is hard, regardless of who the quarterback is. Personally, I don't hurt for me. I don't hurt for our locker room. I hurt for Aaron and how much he's invested in all of this. So I'm still going to say a prayer. I'm still going to hold out hope. My heart's with Aaron right now and nowhere else.
I mean, that was a great victory by the Jets, but I mean, everything. That whole stadium got completely deflated when that happened. Even I was. I'm just like, I want to see what he can do. And to me, people are blaming the turf versus grass. I'm blaming the offensive line or Aaron Rodgers, like, chuck it. Like, you had nowhere to go.
I know the game just started though. He was just getting his feet wet. Obviously, he was already trying to stay upright. And I told you, question mark coming into the season. Offensive line, can they protect him?
Yeah,
they got weapons on offense. They got a great defensive line. Yeah. Their offensive line shaky. I told you, Mekhi Becton's been hurt for 2 years. He's on the right side. He's not the one who gave up the sack. And of course, the left tackle who was they feel terrible. Nobody wants that to happen.
Right.
It was a fluke thing, a crazy thing. And at 39, we're just going to hope that he can bounce back and play next year. But they still have 16 games to play. It's a long long season.
So what do you think they're going to do? I mean, obviously they're saying that Wilson is the starting quarterback. And I mean, I do believe he is calmed down from last year.
Yeah.
He's not so much of a big egomaniac. I think Aaron Rodgers taught him a lot. How do you feel about that? Or do you think they should start searching?
Well, I love how they say they believe in him. Well, no, you don't, because you brought Rodgers in to take your place because you couldn't play. I still think he's terrible. I think he stinks on ice, okay? But shame on Buffalo, but not to get off track here, but Buffalo couldn't seize the moment. Josh Allen's been awful. Put it on the ground twice, threw 3 picks. Thank you for gift wrapping a W after the Seals were out of the stands. Everybody in the seats were like, our season just ended.
Yep.
But to move on to your point, as far as what you do next, of course, you're going to hear, give Tom Brady a call. He's living in New York. No. Not happening after you just said he's a lifelong Patriot the other day at the ceremony. But no, I think they're going to go out of the box a little bit. They're going to look for, if you're looking for a couple of guys off the street, I know how you and I feel about Carson Wentz. No. Matt Ryan. No. But they're going to look, they're talk. You mentioned Jameis Winston. That would have to be a trade because I think he's still with New Orleans. Okay.
Jacoby Brissett.
Jacoby Brissett is in Washington now. I mean, he's been bounced all over the place. He's a possibility.
He's good.
I'm going to tell you a guy.
All right, tell me.
I'm going to give you a name, and I'm going to tell you this because you don't see.
You got a guy? You got a guy?
I got a guy. You got a Mickey sauce? I got a Mickey sauce, Seinfeld. No, but I got to tell you on this one, you don't see a lot of trades in the NFL, and usually it's like player for draft pick, and the deadline kind of comes up quick. I think it's October, so right after the first month, you got to make a decision. I only say this because they lost the other night, Thursday night football, Minnesota and Philadelphia. Obviously, Philadelphia's 2-0, haven't played well, but. I'm looking at Kirk Cousins. I'm going to tell you why. Not a big fan of his, but he can put up numbers. 364 in the air the other night. He can, he put the ball on the ground 4 times. But hey, listen, he can put up numbers, and he's gotten paid. I don't know how he gets as much guaranteed money as anybody in the history of the NFL for doing so little. But he would be a nice fit because the Jets need someone serviceable that can run an offense, and they could get him in a trade. Because you look at Minnesota, they let Dalvin Cook go. I think they take a step back this year. They're already 0-2 in that division. He could be a possibility, and he's a free agent to be at the end of the year, so he'd be sort of like a rental. He'd be an expiring contract. So you take on the money. If they can fit the numbers in, that would be tough because he makes a lot of money. If they can figure that out, Cousins could be a guy that could go to the Jets because I think the Jets have to be thinking big. They have the roster. Wilson's not going to get it done. Not going to get it done.
I thought you meant the running back. I'm not the running back. The wide receiver Wilson. He is. Isn't that his last name?
Yes.
He's
that's Garrett Wilson, who made that catch in the end zone, which was
he tossed it to himself.
Yeah, no, he's a special talent. But if you don't have someone to get you the ball, that pick that Zach Wilson threw over the middle to Milano, the kid who used to play for Boston College, he's a terrific cover linebacker, by the way. He's terrific. That was a great play, but it was a terrible throw.
Right.
It's just like Wilson just doing what he did last year. Now maybe he's learned from his mistakes as far as a human being. I think he's grown because he was behind Rodgers. I think he gets it a little bit, but at the end of the day, you have to be able to play. It's the decision making, and I think Nathaniel Hackett, please don't call me Buddy Hackett, has to be saying to this kid, just don't turn the ball over.
Right.
Take care of the football. You saw Bryce Hall, the first run of the game, 70 yards. That kid's back from an ACL. That's a good sign. If they can pound the football and Wilson can just stay mistake-free, they could be okay. We're going to talk about the slate for this week, and I think they're playing Dallas. So, I mean, I'm looking at 1-1 there because Dallas looks great. But whatever, we'll get into all that. But
the Kirk Cousins thing is that's a very bold decision. And when would that happen? That would happen in October, you think?
That could happen before the deadline. I don't think it would happen today or tomorrow. I think that Minnesota's obviously feeling like even at 0-2 that they have hope. But they lost to Baker Mayfield in Tampa Bay in week 1.
I know.
So they're 0-2. If they get to a point where they're 1-4, 1-5, they have to be looking to make some moves because they'd be toast.
I mean, Kirk Cousins is not a New York kind of guy.
No, but you grab him for the rest of the season, and he can put up numbers. If he, he's never been able to do it in the postseason, but if he could validate his career, he's going to get more money in the offseason from somebody. But I think Minnesota may be in a little bit of a rebuild after having a really good year last year.
All right. So is there anything else you want to talk about? We're going to look forward to Miami tonight at 8:20. We do want to thank our sponsors, PJ's Pub, Pontiac Ave in Cranston. I don't know if you checked out, Dean, on their socials, PJ's Pub, their new fall cocktails. They have the pumpkin espresso, which is espresso, not espresso. I have to explain. Whenever someone says an espresso, I'm just like, you're exactly wrong. They have the apple Rita, summer and the fall, the bourbon fizz, and so much more. So the fall cocktails, they're ready for you, and they're also ready for football. So obviously, head there. They got the Bloody Mary specials, draft specials, $2 drafts on Sundays. You can't go wrong. And if you're like, I can't can't spend the day at PJ's Pub, but I really want some wings, or I really want some burgers, I want some sliders, whatever. They cater, so you can give them a call, and then you can just pick up the tray, maybe have a drink at the bar with Angie, and then head out to wherever you're going. So PJ's Pub, I mean, obviously they got the music, the TVs, the DJs, 21 plus after 7 o'clock, and that's every day. And they have the best award-winning wings in the universe. So if you want to get hooked up with PJ's Pub, PJ's and football, nothing goes better.
I kind of love the fact that our sponsor from PJ sent a picture to you and I the other day. So, and this is the whole synergy of the family thing we got going on here with our sponsors, that he sent a picture of himself in front of Second Time Around Sports, which we were going to get down there to Wakefield eventually to check it out. And it's just great that like he's appreciating the fact that like we're all kind of all in this thing together here.
Well, definitely. And he probably it's like, oh, you know what? I need something. So I'll go to Second Time Around Sports because I hear it all the time on 790 The Score.
Now, obviously, I believe he lives a little closer to that area.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of an
all right, let's not
easier
give Paul's
ride.
address.
No, you know, so I just said closer. I didn't say where. Okay, I've learned from my mistakes. I've learned from most of my mistakes.
And that's a story for another time. All right, so we'll get to part 2 of our football tonight. 8:20, Miami is going to be coming to Gillette. I would like to say that the Patriots will be wearing their old school uniforms, which I absolutely love. They have been known to play better in those things. They're getting 3 points. How you feeling about tonight?
I'm a little wishy-washy. I mean, obviously, it's another home game. You listen. You're not winning when you go down to Miami in about 5 or 6 weeks. You have to split with them. You're already, you're 0-1.
Yep.
It's not a division loss, but you're already 0-1, and you're already playing 2 home games to start the season. Now you got to go on the road for probably 3 of the next 4. So this is a game you have to get to 1-1. And obviously, I'm just, listen. I'm not a big Chargers fan. I know that the coach can't win games. They still put up 34. They gave up 36. That's a high-powered Miami offense. He spread Tua Tagovailoa spreads the ball around. If he stays healthy, 466 yards passing, and of course Tyreek Hill, 8-9 years in the league, 215 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. And don't forget about Jalen Waddle on the other side. The Patriots are going to have their hands full, especially if Jonathan Jones, with a little bit of a mild ankle injury, is on the injury report. He probably will play in this game, but if he's not effective, it could be a long day for the Patriots.
This is audio that came out on Thursday.
Oh, man, he has an incredible skill set. It's just one of those things with a guy like that, explosive. Any play, he can take a 3-yard pass and take it the distance. I mean, he keeps the defense on their toes on every play.
I know we ask about Tyreek every single year because you see more than any of them. Like, do you guys have a different dialogue? Like, oh, good to see you again. Like, we'll see you twice a week now, or twice a season in the division. Like,
Tyreek's from Georgia, so I kind of knew him running track, in high school. So he's from Georgia, so it's kind of hey, how you doing? And let's get to work.
So that's Jonathan Jones talking about Tyreek Hill. So hopefully. I mean, he does a great job on him. I don't know anyone that does coverage on Tyreek better, so you're going to need it.
He's played him well, but if he's gimpy, if he's got a bad wheel, then it could be a problem. But, of course, like I said, Tua's going to spread the ball around. Their running game is their running attack is okay, but those 2 receivers are going to be real tough. And on the other side of the ball, Jess, be careful. He didn't have a great game in Week 1 for Miami, but their do-it-all edge rusher is Bradley Chubb, guy that they picked up from Denver last year, and they gave him a big extension. He was a little quiet in Week 1, but look out for him in Week 2, especially with that patchwork Patriot line. He's going to find the seams and find a way to get to Mac Jones, so they better know where he is at all times on the field. And, a lot of their safeties. They got the kid Xavier and Howard. They've got guys that come up, make a lot of tackles from the safety. Their 2 top tacklers were secondary guys the other day, 14 and 13 tackles respectively. So Miami's defense, obviously they gave up 34, so they can be scored upon.
Yes.
Okay. But Chubb's a guy you got to watch out for. No ears at all times, especially with Trent Brown. He's in concussion protocol. Probably won't play tonight.
Usually, that's a big man.
Usually, if you're in concussion protocol on Friday into it's Sunday morning, we're not sure yet, but it looks like he could be out for this game. They're going to really have to patch it. They'll go with James Ferentz. He'll move around the offensive line. Someone even said David Andrews may not play in this game, so I don't know who's going to be on that front 5. It's going to be interesting.
All right, and because of the O-line being so weak, we have Zappy as backup, and then who else? We got rid of Corral, and now who did we acquire this week from Notre Dame, I believe?
Well, they're working out Ian Book. Okay, so he was really good at Notre Dame. I remember him in college. He was okay. I don't see him as a pro quarterback. The thing with Corral is kind of odd. I guess all the baggage we talked about with him being in trouble and doing this, he's right on point here because they're saying he just went AWOL. They don't know what happened to him last week. It was like the first week they got him, and by Thursday they didn't know where he was. He was nowhere to be found. So they put him on some reserve list. He's really not cut. He's still kind of a part of the mix somehow. I don't know.
So what is that, like 5 quarterbacks now? Because they had Cunningham, too, considered.
Right. So, Cunningham's on the practice squad. Zappy's your backup this week.
Right.
Book's not sniffing it.
Okay.
Book ain't, it's over. It's over for Ian Book.
All right,
okay,
well,
it's over before
quick.
it started,
Yeah,
okay?
Goodbye. Same thing with Corral, apparently. Is there anything else you want to talk about Miami tonight? So let's talk spread. What do you think?
Yeah, obviously it's a small spread. Would you say it's
3?
3?
The Patriots are getting 3.
You're getting 3 at home, so that's everyone saying that they think Miami's 6 points better than the Patriots because you get 3 for being at home.
Correct.
So if you're at 3 point,
I know.
Here we go with the home dog again.
Last week it didn't work out that way. The home dogs lost, and they got up. There was tons of upsets.
I'm just a little bit worried about the fact that offensive line, and I know they're going to need to run the ball. Stevenson, hopefully he's healthy. He was a little bit ill last week. I think he had the flu or something. But you're hoping for a big game from him. But if they can't make the holes for him, it's going to be really tough. He had a nice day catching the ball out of the backfield. He had some nice runs. And I think Zeke Elliott, you take that turnover, the first play, he touched the ball. I think he'll be okay. He can help the team. But I think it's going to be real tough. To me, it's like a coin flip game.
Remember, they're in their throwback uniforms.
All right, so they're in the throwbacks. All right, we'll take the Patriots then. We're gonna go Pats in this one with the throwback jerseys.
If I lose, I'm coming after you.
Oh wow!
All right, so let's
$2.
I actually did a parlay, and I will tell you which teams I went with. So do you want to go through the week? Do you want to talk a little bit? I
most certainly do. I live for this.
All right, so here we go. Green Bay is at Atlanta. Atlanta giving them 1.5. I'm liking Green Bay.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I went against them last week. I thought Chicago was going to make a nice jump. They still look awful.
Yeah, I know.
The Bears and Jordan Love looks really good. The reason why I went against Green Bay is not because I didn't like Love. I think he can play. Is that he didn't have one of the receivers. I think Watson was out, but I think Dobbs had a big game, and they hammered the Bears. And I'm looking at that Atlanta team. I know they won with Desmond Ridder, but
it was shocking.
I'm with you. I'm going Green Bay on the road in this one.
All right, very good. We have Las Vegas at Buffalo. Giving 8.5. Buffalo's giving Vegas. I am going Vegas. I think Buffalo looked like a mess. I know they're at home. However, 8.5 points is a lot.
No, that is a lot. And, of course, the Galloping Chicken did get it done in his first week. They beat Denver by a point. Okay, great. Win's a win. A road win, 17-16.
Jacoby Myers is out, I believe.
Jacoby Myers in concussion protocol. He will not play in this game. And, of course, Vegas, 2 road games to start the season. If they could pick up one on the road, this looks like a game that maybe they might cover the spread, but I'm going to still take Buffalo to win the game.
Correct.
Okay.
Same. Baltimore is at Cincinnati. Cincinnati giving them 3. What the happened to Cincinnati last week? No touchdowns? Why are all these quarterbacks getting all this money and they don't know how to throw a touchdown?
About 10 hours after Joe Burrow, who I love, my favorite quarterback, one of my favorites, signs a $275 million extension. Problem is, go back and look. Maybe we didn't do our homework on that one. They can't beat the Browns. They just can't beat the Browns. I know. They've lost like 5 out of 6. They've got Burrow's number. So we'll see what happens later in the year when they have to play each other again. God, I can't see Cincy, my Super Bowl pick, starting out the season 0-2.
Right.
But you got Baltimore coming in with Lamar Jackson, Zay Flowers. They got a nice team there. J.K. Dobbins, the running back, did tear his Achilles. That's like the second time or third time that's happened for him. He's toast. Forget it. It's a terrible situation.
That is
He's
horrendous.
done for the season. I know he's had at least 2 ACLs. He was a stud at Ohio State. I don't know if Cincinnati gets off the schneid. They have to play better than they played last week. I believe in them still. I'm gonna take Cincy in a huge bounce back in this one.
All right, so I'm gonna mark that down. Seattle at Detroit. Detroit giving them 4.5. I was very impressed with Detroit. I know they know how to put points on the board, so I am going with them. Seattle kind of let me down last week.
I'm going with Soup Campbell. I don't want to hear Kelsey and Jones didn't play for Kansas City. You walked into KC on the first night of the season, Thursday night, opening night, and you won. You got a big W on the road, and I believe in them. They're at home. Although last year when I used to tell you I started to believe in them, they'd always shank an L on me. But I'm going to take Detroit over Geno Steak Smith.
All right, very steak. Delicious. LA taking on Tennessee. Tennessee's at home getting 3 points. I feel like the Chargers, I feel like they're going to win. I'm going to go with them.
I just feel like Herbert just puts up numbers. He can throw the ball. He's terrific. He's an MVP candidate. The coach Riley, I just don't like. I don't like their inability to finish games off. Now they go to, they're at Tennessee. Vrabel, I think Vrabel's clearly the better coach here.
Yes.
But, Tannehill, Henry.
They're old.
Isn't
Tennessee old?
Yeah, they're a little bit. They picked up Hopkins. They didn't get any younger. So,
I know, but at least he's a name.
I'm going to flip a coin on this one. I'm going to take the home team. I say Tennessee.
All right, I'm going to give it a dot because I'm not too sure what I want to do with that one.
Dotting it up over here.
Chicago's taking on Tampa Bay at home, giving 2.5. I'm going Tampa Bay because I think Baker Mayfield is going to be pumped to be at home. I think they're going to be fired up, and I think Chicago showed me nothing last week.
All right. Well, both teams surprised me because I thought the Bears would be better. They stunk on ice.
Yeah.
And I thought Tampa Bay would be awful, and then they beat Minnesota. I thought Mayfield, without Brady there, they're just another team now, and you're never going to see them on TV again, ironically, unless you got the package. I know you're a big red zone person.
Yes, all zone,
but,
all day.
This one's a little tough to pick because it's like just two teams. I'm going to go Tampa Bay at home. I thought Fields would make the jump, but I didn't see it in week 1.
No, definitely not. Kansas City at Jacksonville. Jacksonville getting 3.5. Kansas City, they're not going to, like you said, much like Cincinnati. They're not going to lose 2 in a row.
We say that just now. Of course, Chris Jones, the defensive end, did sign a 1-year deal to get back, out of his holdout. He's going to make big money, over $20 million, 19.5. Okay, you're saying Mahomes. You're going to hear about Mahomes later on too in birthdays.
Oh,
little tease there. But
thank you.
No,
I got some Brittany Mahomes clips if you need it.
Please don't. You're saying they can't go 0-2, but you look at them playing against each other in the playoffs last year. Jacksonville was in that football game.
Were.
Trevor Lawrence has made the jump. He's got the right coach there that can teach quarterbacks. And, of course, he's got his running back from Clemson, Travis Etienne, 77 yards last week and a touchdown. And look out for Calvin Ridley, the kid who missed the season, came over from Atlanta in a trade while he was suspended for gambling. He's had mental issues. He's had mental health issues. He missed a whole season. 101 yards in week 1 and a touchdown. He's a weapon for Trevor Lawrence. Watch out for him. I think Jacksonville.
I'm not playing him, so you don't have to. I appreciate your telling me.
I think Jacksonville can get the home win in this game. I'm taking Jacksonville.
Wow. All right. I like it. I'm going to put a D behind that. I feel like Travis Kelce's going to be back.
Kelsey's coming back.
Right, okay.
Yep.
Ian's dating Taylor Swift, just in case you wanted to know. Indy taking on Houston. Houston's at home, giving them 1 point. I'm going Houston at home.
All right, just to
it's
go,
1 point. It's like basically
right. Just to go against the grain, just for giggles, I'm going to go Indy just to go against you because I think both teams are awful. I thought Anthony Richardson actually did a nice job.
He did.
In his first game. He's got an ability to run. The measurables are there. His body. I'm going to be looking out for him this year. But without Jonathan Taylor in the backfield, they're going to really struggle. But I think he picks up his first win. I think Houston's awful.
All right, San Francisco at the Rams. The Rams getting 7.5. San Francisco looked incredible last week.
It was nice to see Purdy look like he was never hurt.
Yeah.
He came back nice. The team was smooth. Kittle looked good at the tight end position. And that linebacker core they have with Fred Warner and others, Greenwall, they're terrific, that team. And they're my pick for the Super Bowl in the NFC this year.
Definitely.
And I'm definitely picking him in this game.
I like how your face was just like there. Like you were almost like disgusted by it, but you meant they were so good.
Well, I was a little disappointed in Pittsburgh in that game. I thought they would bring a little bit more at home. There were a lot of disappointing teams in week 1.
Oh, anyway, New York, the Giants taking on the Cardinals at home. Their Cardinals are getting 4.
All right. Cardinals are, like, when I say awful, okay, that's an understatement, okay? They got the kid Joshua Dobbs who's starting. They cut their first-string quarterback before the season started. This team is in flux. They're going nowhere. They did get the coordinator from Philly to be the new head coach. It's going to take time there. The Giants, I don't know what the heck happened. Listen, is it a combination of the Giants are not that good or the Cowboys are that good?
Right.
I love Brian Dable as a head coach. I think he's one of the best up-and-coming head coaches in the league, okay? You see what he did when he was in Buffalo with Josh Allen, and now he's not in Buffalo.
Yeah,
and you see the difference with Ken Dorsey as the offensive coordinator. But I will say this, Jess, I don't know why Daboll had Daniel Jones in the game in a 40-0 blowout. You pay your backup to do something. Let him go in and put the clipboard down in the headphones. But I think the Giants, obviously, it's a road game. But I think the Giants bounce back. I think Arizona's going to be hard-pressed. They're going to be looking at the number 1 pick in the draft this year. They're going to be at least up for it. I'll take the Giants.
All right, so you get the Jets taking on Dallas. Dallas is at home, giving the Jets 9. I'm still going Dallas.
That's a lot of points.
I know.
And I think this is going to be, I'm going to say it right now, I think this is going to be a defensive struggle.
Yes.
Okay, I think both teams are going to struggle to score. I think Prescott, even though he threw a ton of picks last year, he's really going to make a conscious effort to take better care of the football, make better decisions. He's the more experienced quarterback. I love Dallas in this game. Micah Parsons is the next coming, I'm not going to say Lawrence Taylor, but he is the next great, edge rusher, linebacker. You call him, he's all over the place. I don't even know what he is. He's just terrific. He just makes plays. And
he's everything.
I love Dallas in this game. And
okay.
C.D. Lamb and the boys. I know Brandon Cooks, who will form a Patriot. I think he's hurt, but they'll be okay.
I'll
take Dallas.
Cooks. All right, very good. That's what I'm doing as well. Washington at Denver. Denver giving them 3.5. I don't know. I may go Washington on this.
I mean, Denver's at home. They did lose already. They got to get a win here because they already lost a home game to Vegas. So obviously these two teams are. I'm telling you, Washington barely beat Arizona in Week 1. I'm gonna say Denver grabs this one, even though I don't like the Sean Payton Russell Wilson combination at all.
All right, and then we already said we were going to go with New England for this week.
Yep.
We got Monday Night Football tomorrow. New Orleans at Carolina. Carolina getting 3. I'm going New Orleans.
Yeah, as much as I'm not a Derek Carr fan, I keep calling him David. That's his brother. But I thought they did enough to win in Week 1. They get Alvin Kamara back. I mean, they got some issues there, and of course the kid
Thomas was playing.
Yeah, Thomas and Olavi, the kid from Ohio State. There's a couple of weapons. Of course, Hill is the backup there. I'm gonna take New Orleans to Carolina. I'd only be watching Carolina to see Bryce Young, the number 1 pick in the draft.
And then we have Cleveland, last game on Monday night. Cleveland taking on Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh at home getting 2.5. I'm going Cleveland.
Yeah, and of course, Cleveland looked great in Week 1. Listen, Deshaun Watson does look better this year.
Well,
and of course, when you've got Nick Chubb, not Bradley Chubb, when you've got Nick Chubb in the backfield, they hand the ball off to a lot of good things happen. He's one of the top 2 or 3 running backs in the league. Love him. Pittsburgh really disappointed me because I kept telling you Pickett to Pickens.
I picked them. By the way,
I didn't see any of that. I thought Pittsburgh and Tomlin, but he hates to lose. I think Tomlin gets them back on track.
Okay.
You're going to take Cleveland. I'm going to say Pittsburgh rides the ship and they win this game at home.
Really?
Yes.
You straight up, not even with the points?
What's the line on that one?
2.5.
Yeah, the line's irrelevant to me. They win by a field goal. I'll take Pittsburgh. Yeah.
Wow, interesting stuff. All right, so that's around the league for the NFL. We're going to thank our sponsors, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk baseball, unless you have anything else for me.
I'm good.
All right, good. I'm good, too. Want to thank our sponsor, Prout Mechanical, located in Providence. You can call them up at 401-487-4343. Even visit them online at prouthvac.com. That's prouthvac.com. They're a family-owned company. They have over 20 years of experience. They're a Mitsubishi Heating and Cooling Diamond Elite contractor. They have the heat pumps, the mini-split ductless systems, and if you're looking to heat up your home, the mini splits are the way to go. They're located in Providence and they service all of Rhode Island and southeastern Massachusetts. They offer services for residential and light commercial. So if you are looking at getting those heat pumps or mini split ductless systems, may I recommend Prout Mechanical in Providence. Their motto, quality and customer service is their top priority. Call them up 487-4343. We also want to thank Second Time Around Sports with locations in Cranston and in Wakefield. Both stores are fully stocked with every sport. We're talking them all. Hockey, soccer, football, always golf, lacrosse, baseball, obviously. And I know things are wrapping up for baseball, but what's not wrapping up is the winter weather is upon us. So Second Time Around Sports is ready for ski and snowboarding season. They got the gear, and they have both new and used. So it's like if you want to try snowboarding and then you realize you suck at it, well, then you can just sell stuff back. You know what I'm saying? So that's the beauty about Second Time Around Sports. Both stores are unique and have huge golf sections. The Wakefield location has a golf simulator and shooting room for hockey, and they are sharpening skates. So figure skates, hockey skates, you can do it daily and you don't have to stay there. Like if you want to just drop off the skates, pick them up later, maybe you got stuff going on, Second Time Around Sports will take care of you. Second Time Around Sports with 2 locations in Cranston and in Wakefield. Follow them on social media, the number 2, X Around Sports.
Look, like I said, we need to be competitive. We need to be playing for a postseason spot, playing meaningful games in September, and playing baseball in October. Those are the expectations, and we're gonna not rest until we're back at that stage. We own this. Look, this is a really painful day for a lot of reasons, especially the personal side of it, and there's blame to go around. There's blame on me, our ownership. There's blame for that on-field staff deserves blame. I'm sure some of the players would say they haven't performed up to expectations. We all fell short of our collective goal, so there's a lot of blame to go around. It's a really tough business. We felt we needed to make significant change with these 2 positions, and that's what we've done.
Bloom, you're out. And I feel as though that was coming. That was pretty much all season we were talking about it. He lasted longer than I thought.
Almost 4 seasons, and of course, you look at the body of work. The Red Sox in 21 were 2 games away from the World Series, so there was some light at the end of the tunnel, we thought, at that point, but there's been too many last-place finishes. As we sit here right now, you look at the Red Sox and Yankees, 74 and 73, fighting it out for the basement. It just wasn't working. The question, Jess, is this the sign that, like, and a lot of people were saying yesterday, well, Alex Cora wins here. Well, hold on a second. Now they're going to bring in a new guy. Does that new guy come in? And usually a new guy wants his own manager.
People, yeah.
So I don't know what the philosophy is here. We've heard rumors about Cora wanting to be a GM. Do they kick Cora upstairs as the GM and they get a new manager?
Does he deserve to be a GM?
He's a good baseball mind. I think he could do it. Yeah.
I mean, he got suspended for cheating. So I mean, I'm just going, right.
I respect your take.
Well, thank you.
I respect your take. I think Alex Cora is one of the good baseball minds, and I think he could do a nice job as a GM. I'm just saying he can continue to manage, but I know there's been rumors that he's looking to eventually, kick himself upstairs, but who knows how it's all going to play out. Could be Cora goes upstairs to GM. Jason Veritek, he's in the dugout with him. He becomes a new manager. Some of the rumors, we've heard names of Jim Click. He was the GM for the Houston Astros, but then they got rid of him after philosophical differences after they won a World Series. That didn't make sense last year. It's just a little bit odd. So Eddie Romero, who's been there for years, his dad played for the Red Sox years ago. Eddie Romero Jr., they're talking about possibly him. They're going to have a nice broad search. It's going to take a while. But
we love those broads.
They're going to, oh, wow.
Searches.
They're going to take their due diligence on this one because they have to get the right guy in there. And I think Bloom, it does signify the fact that I don't want to say I was wrong, but I believe that he was doing the job that Henry and the ownership wanted him to do, which was make the farm system better, which now is ranked, depending on which publication you go by, their system's like top 5 now. So top 5 or 10, so it's getting better.
Yeah, so he's better at that.
Right, but like there's still, with the resources and the money they have, the idea was to rebuild the system. That doesn't, does that mean you can't win on the field that you have, the team that you have now?
Well, I can't do too many jobs at once.
Do you know what I'm saying?
One or another.
So obviously he failed there. And now there's, now there's rumors saying that like he had a chance to maybe put Sale in a deal last year in 2022 and failed to do so. Like he had a chance to get rid of him as he couldn't even go get a sandwich on his bike. He fell down. So I mean, there was a lot of moving parts there. And of course, I look back at 2021 when Kyle Schwarber walked away. They picked Schwarber. They picked him up in a trade from the Nationals. I thought they should have re-signed him. The contract was 4 years, about $80 million. Yeah, granted, he's a DH. You already had J.D. Martinez on the team, but you knew J.D. was only going to be there for 1 more year. He was on a banana peel for the Red Sox. So now you only would have had that 1 year of overlap to have 2 guys that really are liabilities defensively. I thought Schwarber was a good clubhouse guy. And I felt like guys like J.D. were good when things were going well. And when the team started losing, they sort of went their own way. It was the 25 guys, 25 cabs. You could see the ship kind of going downhill there.
What does JD stand for?
That's a good question. I have to look into that.
Jacob Douglas?
No.
John Donaldson?
I don't know. I gotta look into that one. But
Jerky
he's actually,
Ding Dong?
Stop it. He's actually got 26 homers for the Dodgers this year, but his pop with the Red Sox, he was not hitting the long ball anymore, and he wasn't hitting really for high average. He's hitting about 262 this year, but he's obviously helping the Dodgers. They will be in the postseason. But Bloom's tenure, when you look back on this one, this is definitely a failed for almost 4 years. You throw the COVID year out, so you can say that he was really there, not even 4 years. But they definitely have to get it right this time. And, these analytics guys and they call them the stat geeks and all.
Yeah.
I think they need somebody that's more with you. I think Cora is more of a field guy, more of an eye test guy. I think Cora is still the guy for the Red Sox, and I hope he survives all this because I still think he can be an asset to the organization. You give him a good ball club, he can win with it.
We're going to do this. It's going to be awesome.
Oh, no, it's not.
Listen, at the end of the day, I always hate to see anybody lose their job.
Well, yeah.
He'll be fine, and obviously Bloom's a smart guy, and he'll probably get in a front office somewhere else again. I don't know if he'll run a ball club again, but he'll be maybe like a secondary guy, and they got rid of the kid Brian O'Halloran, who was behind him. O'Halloran has not been fired. He's been reassigned or offered another job within the organization. I never understood that. Like, you've been...
You're not that good, but we don't want to lose you.
We might kick you around. You may be able to park cars.
Right.
We're doing valet over here.
Hey, tickets were going for $1, by the way, this week.
Well, I think that was the culmination. You saw the Red Sox lose 3 out of 4 to the Yankees, and I guess they fired Bloom before game 1 of the Thursday doubleheader.
Right.
And it was just, you saw the press conference, and then you went out and saw the game, and it looked like there were like 12 people there. Like, even though it's Red Sox Yankees, excuse me, I had like 20 people asking me if I wanted to go. And I'm
well, for $1.
I'm like, first of all, I was working, but if I wasn't, like, no.
I still would have went. I think that would be a great experience. It was a beautiful day on Thursday. You just go sit back, have a couple drinks. You just can move to the front. I mean, it's still Fenway Park.
Listen, I'm slated to go with one of our sponsors for I think they're playing the Rays on the 26th. I'm doing it for the night out to have a good time with a friend.
Yeah.
But I have no desire to see them play. to see them, to even make the trek to Boston.
Where are you
going to
sit in the green? Are we going to see you on TV
No,
again?
this time I think we'll be back kind of closer to the field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you should go on the field because I think they're going to need your services.
Throwing curveballs. This is a lot right here.
Do we want to go? We got 10 minutes. Do you want to go around the league and talk about some wild card standings before we get into birthdays? Go.
I do. All right.
So we have. So who's going to be wild card worthy? So Blue Jays. Oh, no, they're not going to go.
Well, hold on. Blue Jays are in the hunt. They did get swept 4 games by Texas, who needed to Evaldi came back off the IL and won a game, and Texas kind of got fat on Toronto. Toronto's in Boston this week. Boston's in Toronto this weekend. So Toronto's still relevant, but they always seem to kind of fade down the stretch. There's also a couple of divisions still open. That Tampa, the AL East, Tampa and Baltimore, they're 1 game between them right now. Tampa Bay, after I told you, they lost the kid at the shortstop that had the problem with the female situation with the girl, and then of course they lost Shane McClanahan, who's out with Tommy John surgery. So Kevin Cash just keeps finding a way to patch it together and keep them relevant. So there's a race there. You got the AL West. Okay, which would be Houston, Seattle, and Texas. Those 3 teams are fighting out. You would figure all 3 of those teams could get in. 1 wins the division and 2 get the wild card. It's possible, okay? And, of course, Rocco Baldelli in the Central didn't have a great year there, but they're running away with that division now, and they're not teeing it up. They're not really killing it, but they did enough.
Wow. And then you just I'm just looking at obviously you got the Braves, Dodgers, and Brewers are all in, and then you have the Rays, Rangers, Mariners. Oh, no, those were in the wild card. Orioles, Astros, and Twins are all in. I don't know. I think your Braves are going to do it.
Well, the Braves have had
Phillies?
The Phillies. I mean, Bryce Harper's back. He's been hitting. Trey Turner, who had an awful first half. He's got over 20 home runs now. He's red hot. Turned out to be a nice free agent pickup, $300 million. Oh,
that's it?
Okay, but, San Diego.
That's what I get paid here.
Oh, wow.
Jokes. Big jokes.
Oh, wow. We're
anyway.
Joking with our producer, Steve. I saw a little.
He works there. He knows.
But no, you look at the National League, and of course Atlanta's the cream of the crop. The other team, and of course the Dodgers, who I said this year I thought they would take a step back, although they did lose left-handed pitcher Julio Urias, who's one of their top pitchers. He had a problem, a domestic issue, and they pulled his locker down.
What's with these guys and being big jerks?
You don't know how lucky you are to be able to play the game and play it for a lot of money and a kid's game, but I think they'll be able to survive that. The Dodgers have enough, but they've struggled in postseasons, and I'm still looking at the MVP race, Jess. You've got 4 guys from 2 teams. You've got Ronald Acuna Jr., who of course 37 homers and over 60 stolen bases, hitting .337.
Beautiful.
I think he's going to get the MVP. He's going to edge out Mookie Betts, who's got 39 home runs and hitting over 300. I still like Acuna. He's had the monster year.
No.
The stolen bases is sort of the separator there. He's come back from that ACL injury from 2 years ago.
Well, he's really using it.
But the funny thing is also on the Dodgers, it's two from the Dodgers, 2 from the Braves. You got Freddie Freeman hitting .340 at first base. He's coming up on 200 hits for the season. He's been amazing. And of course, Matt Olson, the first baseman for the Braves, 51 homers and 128 RBIs this year, and has no shot at the MVP. He's going to finish 3rd or 4th. And the funny thing is, the story here was Freeman left to go to the Dodgers as a free agent 2 years ago after they won the World Series. And Freeman went to the Dodgers, and then Oakland traded Olsen to the Braves, and it seems like it's worked out for everybody because Freddie Freeman was a very popular player in Atlanta, but it seems like it's worked for everybody here because now everybody's flourishing and they're happy. So there's a lot of talent right now. It's a nice little MVP race down the stretch. Both teams are going to be in the postseason, so it's going to go to a team that's a winning team.
Oh, I see what you're saying. But sometimes I don't think that's fair because the player, one player can't do it all.
Well, but if you're 30 games out of first, if you're in the basement, you're 30 games back, and you're putting up monster numbers, and so you take them off the team, you're still in last. So you know what I mean? You have to elevate your team. You have to make them better. MVP is most
valuable. Do everything around
Well, MVP is most valuable. What would that team be if you took them off that team? Well, if you took Trout and Ohtani off the Angels, they still suck. So you know what I mean? So it's tough to give MVPs unless their stats are so outrageous. Ohtani may still get it in the American League because he pitched and hit. I don't know.
Well,
he hasn't played played in a while. He's got a rib cage injury now, so I know it's you know.
You know what? I think we jinxed him. We were all over him.
Yeah.
We're just like he's like the Superman, and then it's like
he's still got 44 jacks and 95 ribbies.
Yeah,
and,
but like now you have Tommy John. Now he has a bad rib. Like what's going on?
Going to be an interesting offseason. Dodgers are going to go hard for him, and the Mets. Those are going to be the teams.
All right. So if that's wrapping up baseball, because we're going to talk soccer next with Nick from New England Soccer Weekly, and he's going to. There's a whole bunch of Revs drama going on, so we're going to keep in touch with that. But first, we want to thank our sponsor, The Gentleman, East Street in Cranston. Your chance to sip, smoke, and socialize. And of course, because it is Sunday, 1 o'clock, they're open. You want to watch the games? You want to have a cigar? You want to have a Bloody Mary? They got you covered. If you want a Stoli jalapeno. Doesn't sound bad. I'll try that. Daytime games are catered by Lou Umberto's. So good. The only thing to get the food, just purchase a cigar. I mean, you're there at the Gentleman anyway, so just do that. And rumor has it, new project on the way in Apponaug, the Social House coming soon. So, I mean, you go to PJ's Pub. It's awesome. It's beautiful. It's a pub. You love it. It's friendly. The Gentleman, classy. It's intimate, it's stylish, and then now coming soon, the Social House, which I don't know. You said you went there and it looks gorgeous. It could be a mix of both. They haven't told me anything. They just says, "Hey, Apponaug, Warwick, you're going to be there." I said, "Absolutely."
I've actually seen some footage, some pictures of it, and it's amazing.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Right. It's a sexy place.
It's sexy.
Is it?
And our boy Prout Mechanical's doing the work.
Well, see, you gotta love that. Everybody
keeping it in the family.
Oh, we love to do that. So we want to thank the Gentleman. And once again, if you want to watch the games there, they open at 1 o'clock, and it's your chance to dine on some Lou Umberto's. You can't go wrong with that. We're going to move along to soccer. So much news this week with the New England Revolution. So I'm just like, I don't know much about what's going on. So we decided to call in Nick from New England Soccer Weekly. Hello, Nick.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me back.
Good to have you.
I like that when there's something big, that's the only time I come on this show. When something is big and unexplainable to you guys when it comes to soccer, that's why
we can't figure it out. We don't know anything that's going on. All right, but I do know, is Bruce Arena retired in quotes?
If you want to believe the statement that was put out by Bruce Arena, then yes, it seems like he was kind of leaving on his own volition, but that's not really the full story, no.
All right, so what did he do?
So nobody knows, really. There was a statement put out over 6 weeks ago by the league that said Bruce Arena was being placed on administrative leave due to inappropriate comments. That was the full scope of what was out there. No one still to this day knows what that is, but what it is now is that he's out. The assistant coach is out, and there's a new coach in place for the Revolution.
Question,
yes.
Why is the assistant coach, which would be the number one choice, out? What seems to be the drama with that? Richardson is his last name?
No, his name is Richie Williams.
Richie Williams,
yeah,
whatever.
So there's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of allegations. No one, again, can say for sure, but there are reports out there that have said that Richie Williams may have been the person that reported whatever those remarks by Bruce Arena were to the league, and once that got out, the players allegedly in the locker room obviously weren't happy with that. And this is one of those stories. We had Tom Bogert, who, if you don't know who he is, he's one of the top soccer reporters in the country. He works for The Athletic on, and I asked him on our show yesterday, you've been covering this sport for over a decade. Is this the biggest, most convoluted story you've covered? And he said pretty much, yeah. I mean, there's just so much going on, and then still so much that we don't know.
Right, and it's typical for soccer to have drama. Just look at how you guys flop all around the field when you're not hit with anything.
It's an art.
It's
an art.
It's beautiful. That's why I said Richardson, because I was thinking Richie the Rat. But I can say that, but you can't say that.
I would not say that.
Well, Nick, let's talk about what it means for the Revs right now, because obviously at 13-9, it's not a bad squad here. They got a good team, okay? So, you move forward, and now let's talk a little bit about Clint P.A. You said 46 years old. He's the next coach. What can you tell us about him, and what's the present for this team?
So he coaches coached the Revolution's second team, which is a team comprised of a lot of younger players that they're hoping to funnel up through the system. They have been very successful. He's been a very good coach. From everything that you read, there's players on the Revolution squad that had a lot of great things to say about him as well. But you're right. This is a team that is sitting in second place in the East. There's 7 games left. When I came on this show months ago, you don't really know. They looked good, but they are good. So what's really interesting to me, and I know this is going to break down the fourth wall a little bit, this airs Sunday morning, correct?
Yes, it sure
so
does.
There was a game last night. in Colorado. Colorado's statistically the worst team in MLS. I'm not so much worried about the result. I do think the Revolution would have won. Hopefully I didn't jinx anything. But I'm just interested to see from a player perspective how they're going to respond on the field, because this is a group that has an MVP with Carlos Heel, one of the best players in the league. It has a group comprised of veterans like Matt Polster and Andrew Farrell, locker room guys that hopefully will be able to keep this squad together. Listen, I don't want to sugarcoat it. This is crazy. This is the biggest name coaching-wise in a sport that is no longer in your locker room anymore. There's all of these reports about all of these other things within the coaching staff that was fractured, and you still have to go out and perform and do your job and play on the field. I think this team has the mental fortitude to do that, but I'm interested to see how they're going to respond.
Didn't the players initially decide not to even work out? They were thinking about a rebuild, just saying we're not going to do it. If Bruce isn't here, we're not here.
Yeah, so that is kind of where it gets a little muddy in the reporting. So there were reports initially that came out that said that the players refused to practice on Tuesday after meeting with the coaching staff at that time, which was still Richie Williams. That has kind of been walked back a little bit. There's been players on record that have said that wasn't the case, that they had so many meetings throughout the day that they just decided collectively to not train that day. So that's not
as fun.
Whether that's true or not, that's the story that they're going with right now.
All right, so
but it's wild, guys. I mean,
I've never
seen
this.
anything like, exactly.
And I really have to give credit because, I guess we still don't know what actually happened. So here's the people keeping their mouths closed, because that never happens. There's usually you have some sort of leak somewhere, and we got nothing.
Yeah, I've talked to Tom Bokert. I've talked to our own Tom Quinlan, who, by the way, has been in this story since the beginning. He's been following this. He's been in the press conferences, and
he's been in his dungeon.
There's been people that are really like working sources that just can't find anything.
That's amazing.
Nick, I got to ask you.
Sure.
Bruce Arena, obviously 71 years old. Most of his coaching days, I hate to say it, I'm behind him. He's got a great track record, a great resume. But do you think he'll coach again in the MLS?
It's a great question. It's a question that was posed on our show this week, too. I don't think anybody knows. I think it'll be very difficult with how things happen and then how he kind of resigned to see that. Is there a front office position for him? Possibly, but again, 71, 72 years old, storied career. It might be time to go, although if you're him, and I don't know him personally, it's a tough way to see your career end.
Yeah.
And you would think, guys, that obviously if he were to take a job at 71, he's a little long in the tooth, you would think that probably he would take, obviously a job that where a team was already close. I don't see him doing a rebuild at 71, taking a team and building it at that age.
I think also, again, because we don't know all this stuff, and this is a lot of, soccer is a team sport. I talk about this on my show all the time, whether you're the coach, whether you're a player, it's a collective. You never want to be the story. And Bruce Arena is the story right now. And to me, if I'm another, with his resume and all of that, if I'm another team at 72 years old, do you want to give this guy, bring him into your organization, seeing what happened here? And there's going to be more, from what we understand, there's going to be more stories that's come out about the coaching staff in general. There's 2 other coaches that were coaching with him that are no longer with the team anymore. There's the assistant coach that's not the assistant coach anymore that's still there. It's a mess. So as all this stuff continues to come out, do you really want him there? I don't know.
No, it seems like a poison.
I'm a little confused, and obviously you're shedding some light on it,
but
it is. I know you are, Nick. Without you, listen.
Well, let me put it to you this way.
We knew nothing going into this.
Well, so did we. So you've been covering sports for a long time, right? And you listening out there, you've been a fan of sports for a long time. This came out 7 weeks ago. He hasn't coached since late July. We're in mid-September, and this just came out.
They put him on administrative leave?
Sure.
But
my point to you guys, and we've talked about this on my show, if this is the NFL, if this is the NBA, if this is any other business, 7 weeks goes by and you get no information, and then an avalanche falls, by the way, at 10:30 at night last Saturday. That's when this story got broke.
Yeah.
10:30 he released this on a Saturday night. It's wild.
Because no one's paying attention. The Patriots are kicking off their season opener
Brady's
tomorrow.
coming back.
Yeah, they're just like, psh.
I mean, this whole story is bizarre. I just can't. I'm still trying to get my hands around the part where he had a problem with the assistant coach, and the assistant coach kind of maybe went at him. And now they're both gone. You would think that maybe one, that the assistant coach was trying to lowball him, maybe to be the next guy. I don't really know, but they're both gone.
But what I understand
I think that is a good way, like a good thought process, a good theory, and that might be true.
Yeah.
But if that was the case, it backfired because he lost his job allegedly because of then the player reaction to all of this happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So non-soccer. Well, I guess it still is soccer related. We were talking about it earlier in the show. How Aaron Rodgers ended up hurting his knee in this turf versus grass. You played soccer, and I know the Patriots. The field is turf, and if we want Messi to come, he doesn't play on turf. So does that really change a game? Does that more people get hurt on turf than grass? Is that a thing? Or
so
no?
This is my well. Let me answer the first part of your question. Does it change the game? 1 infinity billion trillion %. Yes. When you play soccer on grass, opposed to playing on either an artificial turf or a flat artificial turf, the game is completely different.
Oh.
And I am not a medical person. I'm not a doctor, but I believe that there are decades and decades of studies to show you that playing on artificial turf and on turf, just like at Gillette Stadium, you're more apt to get hurt than playing on natural grass. Yes. Again, Google it. I'm not a doctor. I did play. I can tell you I've played on every surface imaginable. There's nothing like playing on grass. The game should be played on grass.
And isn't there something like the World Cup coming too?
Yeah, and that
they have to change it.
Well, they have. Yes, you can't. The World Cup has to be played on grass. So those stadiums either have to go completely to grass or have a fix for 2026.
All right, so that was my interesting thing. So, all right, well, Nick G, or are you just Nick?
Whatever.
All right, Nick from New England Soccer Weekly on 790 The Score.
I'm whoever you want me to
Well,
be.
yeah, because, I mean, you have multiple personalities. I mean, he's on Hot 106. He's on 92 Pro FM. He's on 790 The Score, so it's hard to keep track.
See me on TV sometimes.
Yeah,
it's all
on
good.
the road show, it's amazing.
Yes.
Well, thank you for giving us some insight on the Rebs.
I apologize for it being so convoluted, but that's where the story is.
Hey, listen, I kind of like the drama. It's nice to have it.
Absolutely.
All right, well, we'll mix it up. So we'll talk to you if there's any updates.
I'm here.
Thank you kindly. Want to thank our sponsor, Prout Mechanical, located in Providence. You can call them up at 401-487-4343. Even visit them online at prouthvac.com. That's prouthvac.com. They're a family-owned company. They have over 20 years of experience. They're a Mitsubishi Heating and Cooling Diamond Elite contractor. They have the heat pumps, the mini split ductless systems, and if you're looking to heat up your home, the mini splits are the way to go. They're located in Providence and they service all of Rhode Island and southeastern Massachusetts. They offer services for residential and light commercial. So if you are looking at getting those heat pumps or mini split ductless systems, may I recommend Prout Mechanical in Providence. Their motto, quality and customer service is their top priority. Call them up 487-4343. We also want to thank Second Time Around Sports. From beginners to professionals, they custom hockey and figure skates. They also have skate sharpening daily, where you can actually wait or drop off your skates, which is very convenient, especially if you're a parent and you're just like, listen, I don't have time to be waiting. I'll just drop them off and go back and pick them up. Both stores are fully stocked with every sport from hockey to soccer, football, and as always, golf. And Top Golf will be opening soon, so maybe you get yourself some gloves. For those who love winter weather, well, they got Second Time Around Sports ready for your ski and snowboarding season. I could never do either one of those. I can't ski or snowboard. I have no core.
No core?
No core. I wasn't made with abs.
Wow. I have not done either one. I've always had a goal to take up skiing, but I haven't. Yeah.
Oh, it seems so dangerous.
I mean, it's getting a little late.
Yeah.
It's a little late in the game. Maybe I stay on the ground.
Well, hey, listen, if you change your mind, Second Time Around Sports in Cranston and in Wakefield, two beautiful locations. You can follow them on social media, the number 2X Around Sports. All right, who we got on Sunday, September 17th?
All right. Phil Jackson.
Oh, yes, the Bulls coach. The
former Bulls coach.
The widest shoulders in America.
Yeah, Lakers, Bulls. He's 78 today, okay?
Wow.
How about this? 11 championships. And I know a lot of people in Celtic Nation feel like, Red Auerbach's the best of all time. Phil Jackson in this era had to manage personalities and babysit the Dennis Rodmans. Mm-hmm. And, even Kobe Bryant, God rest his soul. Kobe was difficult, but, he managed them. He always put a team over the hump.
Yeah.
The only thing, at the end of his career, he ran the New York Knicks into the ground. They were terrible anyways, but he was the GM. He won 2 championships as a player with the Knicks in 1970 and 1973.
Yeah.
Okay, but Phil Jackson is 78, one of the greatest coaches of all time.
Indeed. Couldn't agree more.
And, of course, I teased it earlier, guys, so it's Patrick Mahomes is 28. I was getting ready to cue it up.
Brady Mahomes lighting the cake. That's what she's saying.
Known
Light
better.
it.
Of course, Mahomes, the resume, you could go up and check our show that I already put him in the top 10 quarterbacks of all time, even though he's only in his 6th season as a starting quarterback. 2-time Super Bowl champ, 2-time MVP, 2-time Super Bowl MVP. The stats, the numbers, the play, as long as they got Patrick Mahomes, they got a chance. And I think when it's all said and done, he'll be a lot closer to Tom Brady at the top with Montana and Brady when it's all said and done.
Really?
He's one of the top 3 or 4 of all time if he stays healthy.
They got to get that win today. Yeah, I know. He's always having some feet-ish.
Yeah. So I've got one more.
All right, give it to me. Got 1 minute.
On the entertainment side, John Ritter, Three's Company, 1948.
Jack.
He did pass away in 2003 at the age of 54. John Ritter, funny guy.
He was great.
Three's Company was solid.
Yeah, that was good. I couldn't watch.
Those are my birthdays for September 17th.
Very nice. Well, we're down to the wire. I couldn't watch Three's Company. Go figure how things worked out.
Right. That's interesting.
This is Keeping Score with Jess and Dean, the Dream. We're on YouTube, we're on Instagram, and we're on 790 The Score each and every Sunday morning at 8, and you can find us wherever you find your podcasts.
Enjoy the game tonight.
Thanks. I will be screaming my head off.